How Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever could make the WNBA Finals. The WNBA regular season ends on September 19th, but Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are already locked into the number 6 seed in the playoffs, which begins September 22nd. This year is the first time Indiana has made the postseason in 7 years. The Fever hasn't won a playoff series since 2015. Clark's squad is set to face the third-seeded Connecticut Sun in the first round, but with 2 games still to go in the regular season, that matchup isn't set in stone. There are scenarios in which Indiana gets a more difficult opening round opponent. Difficult as in the Minnesota Lynx, one of the favorites to win the 2024 title, or the Las Vegas Aces and Aliyah Wilson, the 2-time defending champions. Still, if Clark and fellow All-Stars Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston stay hot, the Fever have a chance to pull off a pair of upsets and make a run to the WNBA Finals. Here's how it could happen. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever keep rolling. They continue to play like one of the best teams in the WNBA. The Fever has been one of the most dominant teams in the league since the All-Star and Olympic break. Despite back-to-back losses to the Aces, Indiana is 9-4 since August 15th. Tied for the third-best record in the WNBA with Las Vegas and Connecticut. The Fever lead the league in scoring during that stretch, 90.9, as well as three-point percentage, 39.4, on the second-highest volume, 27.9 attempts per game, and is second in rebounding and field goal percentage. Mitchell and Clark are the second and third leading scorers, respectively, in the WNBA since the break. Mitchell is averaging 24.8 points, behind only Wilson, while Clark is scoring 24.3 points per game. Mitchell is third in the league in field goal percentage for any player averaging at least 15.0 attempts. Clark is 10th. Mitchell also sits atop the league in three-point percentage, 45.5, for any player taking at least 5 threes per game, 8.3. Clark is shooting 36.3% on a league-leading 10.4 attempts a night. Boston, meanwhile, the Fever's 6'5" center and the 2023 draft's number 1 pick, is averaging 14.1 points, 9.0 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks on 52.6% shooting. Indiana's trio is for real, and if Mitchell and Clark continue to shoot the lights out from deep, a definite possibility. The Fever can beat anybody. Clark and the Fever's potential playoff path. Indiana would have to run a gauntlet to the finals. The easiest path to the semifinals for the Fever would be to go through Connecticut rather than the Lynx or Aces, although Clark and company have had mixed results against the Sun. Indiana had a rough start to the season before a massive turnaround. Following an 89-72 loss to Connecticut in the Commissioner's Cup on June 10th, the Fever fell to 3-10, with 3 of those losses coming against the Sun. May 14th, Sun 92, Fever 71. May 20th, Sun 88, Fever 84. June 10th, Sun 89, Fever 72. Fortunately for Indiana, however, those 3 losses came before the team's post-All-Star break run. An 84-80 home victory over Connecticut on August 28th brought the Fever to within 1 game of .500 at 15-16. Mitchell scored 23 points on 8 of 14 shooting from the field and 4 of 7 from 3. Clark added 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Lexi Hull scored 17 points and added 8 rebounds. Despite that win in Indiana's month-long run, though, the Sun would be an interesting matchup as Connecticut only allows its opponents to shoot 31.1% from 3, the second-best mark in the league. Should the Fever beat the Sun in a 3-game series, they would likely face Minnesota in the semifinals. The Lynx have been the most dominant team in the league in the second half of the year, and, interestingly, lead the league in opponent three-point percentage at 29.9. Minnesota is 12-1 in its last 13 games. The Lynx lead the league in field goal percentage and are second only to Indiana in three-point percentage. They lead the league in assists per game in that span, 23.5, and have assisted on 76.6% of their made shots over the course of the regular season. Clark and Mitchell are 2 of the best shooters in the WNBA, but Minnesota has 5 players who shoot at least 40% from deep. The Fever would have to try and find a way to outscore the Lynx, which would be a mighty tall task, considering Minnesota's ability to move the ball, shoot from range, and keep opponents from raining threes. There's a reason the Lynx are a common pick to win this year's title. Clark has had success against Minnesota in 2 of the team's 3 matchups. She scored 23 points and shot 3 of 8 from 3 while adding 8 assists and 5 rebounds in 38 minutes in a loss on August 24th. Most recently, on September 6th, Clark had 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists and shot 5 of 10 from 3. Mitchell has scored 21, 21, and 23 points in the team's matchups this season, including a 4 for 8 performance from deep on September 6th. There's evidence the Fever's 2 best players can handle Minnesota's defense. If Indiana can find that success again and play better on the other end of the floor, or hope the Lynx go cold from 3, the Fever can steal a road win and potentially the series and advance to the 2024 WNBA Finals. There certainly is a path, albeit an extraordinarily difficult one. But as basketball fans have seen during Clark's career, she always gives her team a chance. Caitlin Clark, the phenomenal rookie for the Indiana Fever, made history on the court by shattering an 18-year-old record in an unforgettable performance. In a thrilling matchup, Clark reset the game with a clutch shot. Clark fires away, you bet. That had fans on the edge of their seats. Imagine this: 35 points, 8 assists, and 6 three-pointers. But that's just the beginning. Clark not only spearheaded the Fever's nail-biting 110-109 victory against the Dallas Wings, but she also became the highest-scoring rookie in WNBA history. Her record-breaking performance is a testament to her remarkable talent and the bright future she has ahead in the league. The game was a true tug-of-war, featuring 6 lead changes and 13 ties over 4 intense quarters, showcasing the fierce balance and competitiveness between the 2 teams. While Caitlin Clark was having an inspired night, she wasn't carrying the load alone. Kelsey Mitchell also dazzled, scoring 30 points with remarkable skill and shooting precision. Together, Clark and Mitchell combined for an impressive 65 points, contributing nearly 60% of the Fever's total score. This dynamic duo was pivotal in keeping the team in contention throughout every minute of the game. On the other side, the Dallas Wings leaned heavily on stars Sadisabali and Eriko Gumbo, who each scored 27 points. They gave the Fever's defense a tough time, making difficult shots and keeping the Wings within striking distance on the scoreboard. It was a true battle of titans, with key players from both teams leaving it all on the court. The decisive moment came in the final quarter with the game tied and tensions at their highest. Caitlin Clark took control, sinking 2 consecutive three-pointers in high-pressure situations, silencing the opposing crowd and giving the Fever the edge they needed. These shots were not only technically flawless, but also highlighted Clark's poise and confidence under pressure. The victory was not just thrilling for fans, but also critical for the Fever's playoff hopes. With this win, the team secured the 6th seed in the playoffs, marking their first postseason appearance since 2016. It was a milestone for the franchise, which had struggled in recent seasons. The atmosphere in the locker room afterward was filled with euphoria and relief as the players celebrated their long-awaited return to the postseason.